What is going on, guys? Dino Bam Bam here with the 10-7 MMA. Happy to be back in your lives with another edition of the Mma Casual'S Guide. In this episode, we will be talking about UFC 296, Edwards versus Covington. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into the main event. We'll start with the red corner, the UFC's reigning, defending, welterweight champion, Birmingham's own Leon Rocky Edwards. The champ is back in action for the second time this year. His last appearance was back at UFC 286 in March, where he successfully defended his belt against the man he beat to earn that belt, Kamaru Usman. Leon's shining moment in the UFC was, of course, winning the belt back at UFC 278. The moment was absolutely surreal. After being clearly down on the judges' scorecards, it looked like Leon was coasting to the end of the fight, just looking to survive and take his loss, when out of nowhere, he landed a picture-perfect head kick that knocked Usman out cold. The post-fight speech was one of the best speeches you'll ever hear inside an MMA cage. An emotional Leon Edwards famously coined what would become his catchphrase of sorts when he said pound for pound, headshot dead, and kept repeating, "Look at me now." I've linked that for you guys to check out in the description below. Rocky looks to solidify his spot and remain atop the welterweight throne, but in order to do that, he has to go through his opponent this weekend in Donald Trump's favorite fighter, Colby Covington. Colby Covington looks to finally get that undisputed UFC welterweight gold wrapped around his waist this weekend in what we can only assume is his last title shot. In his previous two attempts, Colby came up short in both fights against then-champion Kamaru Usman. Inside the cage, Colby Covington uses a relentless wrestling style and weaponizes cardio like few have ever been able to do in UFC history. Outside the cage, few fighters have ever been as controversial as Colby Covington is in the sport. He's an avid Donald Trump supporter who speaks his mind and is not opposed to taking verbal shots at anyone and everyone. He's a polarizing man. Whether you love him or you hate him, you cannot deny that the man is entertaining as hell and knows how to sell a fight. This fight is an insane way to end the UFC schedule in 2023, but before we reach that end, we have another title fight taking place, this time in the flyweight division, where newly crowned champ Alexandre Pantoja takes on Brandon Royval. Let's start with the champ, Brazil's Alexandre Pantoja. Alexandre Pantoja is back and ready to defend his flyweight title for the very first time. He won the title back in July at UFC 290 International Fight Week by defeating a man he's defeated 3 times now in Mexico's Brandon Moreno. That fight was a 5-round war which won Fight of the Night and is on many people's shortlist for Fight of the Year. Pantoja is a well-rounded fighter with good power on the feet and great jiu-jitsu skills on the ground. This will be the second time he faces his opponent this weekend, Brandon Royval, in his career. The pair previously met in August of 2021. Pantoja was able to get a victory via rear naked choke in the second round of that fight. Both fighters have improved since then, and I'm very excited to see if Pantoja can defend his belt against Brandon Royval. Brandon Royval is on a 3-fight winning streak since losing to Pantoja back in 2021. He defeated Rogerio Bontorin, Matt Schnell, and Mateus Nicolau in that streak, all by different methods. One by decision, one by sub, and one by violent KO. Royval is a very well-rounded fighter. He's very fast and athletic. He's a former LFA champion who's getting his first opportunity to fight for UFC gold. This fight should be an absolute banger. As I mentioned earlier, this card is absolutely stacked. let's talk about some of the other fights on this card you absolutely must know about. We will see the dangerously well-rounded, super highly touted, undefeated prospect in Kazakhstan's 29-year-old Shavkat Rakhmanov. Many people in the MMA community think Shavkat is a shoo-in to be a UFC champion one day, and many think he's the best overall prospect in all of MMA. He will be taking on the ageless wonder, an American karate expert, the 6th degree black belt, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. Wonderboy has a very unique striking style and should provide Rakhmanov's toughest test to date. This fight is definitely the old guard versus the new. It will be very entertaining. We will also see the UFC legend Tony El Cucuy Ferguson try to end his 6-fight losing streak. Tony, who was once one of the UFC's biggest stars ever, has fallen on tough times. He needs desperately to win here and stop the hype train of Liverpool's Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. Paddy is a very controversial figure in the UFC. The 28-year-old is very brash and very popular. He is 4-0 in the UFC, but most fans believe he was gifted a robbery decision in his last fight against UFC veteran Jared Gordon. That fight is linked for you guys in the description below. You can make your own decisions on that one. This will definitely be Paddy's biggest name he's ever fought and the biggest spot he's ever been on a huge UFC card. Let's see how he fares. To open the main card, we will see former teammates go at it when Vicente Luque looks to turn back and take the O from Ian Garry. Luque is a longtime UFC veteran who has fought against many of the division's toughest and best fighters, while his opponent, Ian Machado Garry, is 12-0 and facing the toughest opposition of his career. Garry has been in the news a lot as of late for personal reasons pertaining to his love life and his wife. If you guys are interested in hearing more about that situation, I'll link a little video for you in the description below. And not only is this main card absolutely bussin', we have a stacked prelim card. On the prelims, we're gonna see an absolute banger in the featherweight division with former title challenger Josh Emmett as he takes on Arkansas's own grappling machine, the camo short wearing, thug nasty Bryce Mitchell. We will also see former title contender Irene Aldana, former UFC bantamweight champion Cody No Love Garbrandt, the return of King Casey O'Neill, and of course, our boy here at the 10-7 MMA, Rude Boy, Randy Brown. Guys, the UFC's last card of the year, UFC 296, Edwards vs. Covington, takes place this Saturday, December the 16th at T-Mobile Arena in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. If you enjoyed, please do us a favor, click that subscribe button and leave a like on this video. Guys, this was the MMA Casuals Guide. Once again, I'm Dino Bam Bam with the 10-7 MMA. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.